Sandro. तुमचं काढू का तुम्ही काय बोलता
Good afternoon all. I, Subia Sayyar, take the opportunity to host this wonderful event today. On this special day of Institute's Innovation Day, which coincides with the birth anniversary of the visionary Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, we celebrate the spirit of innovation, knowledge and progress. Dr. Kalam's legacy as the missile man of India and a great scientist continues to inspire generations. Let us honor his memory by fostering a culture of innovation, curiosity and education as we look towards a brighter and more innovative future. I welcome you all to the seminar conducted by Mr. Saurabh Sinha on the occasion of Institute's Innovation Day, which is also celebrated as APJ Abdul Kalam's birth anniversary. I would like to thank Vasantha Patil Pratishthan, College of Engineering and Visual Arts, Principal Dr. Alam N. Sheikh, IIC President Dr. Praveen Yadav, IIC Vice President Professor Swapnil Desai, IIC Convener Professor Tehseen Mullah, Event Coordinator Dr. Pramod Bhavate Sir for permitting us to organize today's event. I welcome all the other HODs, coordinators, faculty members and my dear friends attending the event today. Now I would like to request our dignitaries to kindly enlighten the lamp by taking the blessings of Saraswati Mata before starting the event. Let me take few minutes to introduce you all to our today's guest speaker. Saurabh Sinha is a serial social entrepreneur who possesses an unwavering passion for reigniting the flames of innovation within individuals, empowering them to tackle social challenges head-on. Through his organization Green Labs, Saurabh Sinha and his ADAPT team are committed to collaborating with both individuals and organizations on their research, innovation and incubation endeavors. One notable initiative involves forging partnerships with a network of colleges in Navi Mumbai to help run incubation cells with a specialized curriculum, fostering a culture of innovation and research from a young age. Their hands-on involvement extends to aspiring entrepreneurs in transforming their concept into minimal viable product with an extensive professional background spanning over 18 years. Mr. Saurav's experience encompassed with both manufacturing and e-commerce. An amazing personality indeed. Now I would like to request our principal, Dr. Alamin Sheikh, to felicitate our today's guest speaker, Mr. Saurabh Sinha. We have with us our principal, Dr. Alamin Sheikh, who serves as IIC Normie and subject expert on interview panel of Mumbai. He was awarded for excellence in best principal from Asia Africa, ICC Excellence Award 2018 and NCRD SIMS Navi Mumbai on 1st December 2018, and was also awarded with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Session Ratna National Award from IISCR Bangalore. I would like to request our principal, Dr. Alamin Sheikh, to say a few words about our today's event.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome my friend Saurabh ji. Just now we had a discussion that I will come to that one later. IIC Vice President and TPO Professor Swapnil sir, HOD, AIDS, Dr. कहते हैं ना सब लोग? Yes. Pramod. Okay. He is my student also during his BE. So friends, today I can say that two golden moments. What are those moments? Written over there. Innovation Day of Institution as well as birth anniversary of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So Dr. Pramod is very smart. He has smartly combined these two activities or these two events and arranged this session. So basically we were having a discussion with sir and sir was telling about his companies and all. So in Mahape Millennium Business Park, he is having a good setup, big setup of around 200 people. And most interestingly, one more important thing is that NGO also he is running, so he is more into the social approach also. That is the reason, even though his schedule is busy, he is here to guide you. So today morning, a few students came to me and I read serial social entrepreneur. So I asked him what exactly this means, how many companies you have and all. So really he is a person who has achieved a lot many things. Just now she has described about him. One thing I would like to tell you, Swapnil sir is sitting over here, TPO, Training and Placement Officer. Just like 10 days, 10 years back or 5 years back, scenario is not like that. Means 100% students will be placed, job opportunities and all. It's maybe because of advanced technology, it may be because of so many other things, AI, chat GPT and all. Am I right, Swapnil sir? So why I am telling you this? Because our TPO team is struggling like anything, working like anything. They are bringing the companies of hundreds of companies are coming to visiting to our campus and all. But number one is students are lagging somewhere in the sense either in aptitude test they are getting failed or in interviews, group discussions and all. So even though DPO team is putting very hard work, doing very hard work, bringing companies and all, but that much outcome, that much output, 100% output we are not getting, 90%, 95% output we are getting. Thing is that, thoda sa apna approach we have to change. You have to focus on your own startups. You have to focus, you have to come forward with the good ideas and implement those ideas, because always I keep on telling that you did not have to invest even single penny. All India Council for Technical Education, clearly they have circulated one guidelines mentioning that student can start his startup during his college days itself, during his even first year, second year, third year also, and he can register his proprietorship, OPC or private limited company along with professors if you want, and whole resources will be provided by the college on a revenue sharing basis, but that also that won't affect that much to the management, because our engineering management, our general secretary Senior Advocate Sri Appasaheb Desai, he is very keen and very passionate about the startups and research and other things. He always keeps on motivating to the students, to the faculties, by giving some sort of good examples, as well as financially also he has helped so many students. So I will not take much of time. I am again thankful to Saurabh ji for coming over here to guide us. I am thankful to all organizing student team. I must appreciate them, their passion, their enthusiasm and all. And I must again appreciate Dr. Pramod and whole team of IIC. Tahsin Mullah sir is there, Dr. Praveen Yadav is there. So it's good work. It keeps a student, because see, always it is seen that there is a major gap between industry and institute. Means what? इंडस्ट्री में जाने के बाद वो लोग बोलते हैं कि स्टूडेंट वॉट एवर यू आर लर्न इट इज थ्योरेटिकल, देयर इज नो touch which is required by the industry or knowledge required by the industry. To bridge the gap between industry and institute, such activities plays very vital role, including internships and all. So thank you so much, and have a nice time ahead. Around 2 hours session sir is going to give. So during those 2 hours, sincerely you have to attend the this thing session, and after that your test will be conducted. Am I right, sir? टेस्ट वगैरह कुछ नहीं है, खुद का टेस्ट खुद ही लेना है. ओके, थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, without further ado, let's warmly welcome Mr. Saurabh Sinha to the stage.
Introduction to Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Subya.
Okay, all set?
Subya. Subya.
Okay, let's begin with the following. आराम आ रहा होगा सब लोगों को. How many students here from the first year? हाथ ऊपर. अरे क्या बात है, very nice. Okay, how many here who have been in first year before and are still in first year? नहीं, ठीक है. Generally first year in engineering, Mumbai University is like the KT year of, you know, उसमें थोड़े लोग रह जाते हैं पीछे. So I hope you've not had that experience so far. Anybody from second year here? Okay, fair. Good. So the organizers, I think, are from the second year. What we will be doing now is I'll take you through a short journey of about an hour or so, probably a little more if at all, in helping you guys figure out a few things which are going to, जब भी engineering में आते हैं, अभी यहाँ हमने 3 months हो गया आप लोगों को, हाँ, 2 महीने हुए हैं ऐसे. So generally what happens is about 2 months to 3 months के बाद there's this one very nice song that was written long back in a Yash Chopra picture, and that song was ये कहाँ आ गए हम. Have you heard this song? Okay. So all of us when we come across engineering or engineering in Mumbai University, so the first expression जो हमारे मन में आता है, that is like ये कहाँ आ गए हम. Okay. And obviously there's nobody other than the folks that see around. And the common feeling that comes in is that यार ये हो क्या रहा है अपने साथ types. Okay. Now your parents are really smart people. वो आपको encourage करते हैं बेटा 12th अच्छा कर लो, NEET अच्छा कर लो, examination अच्छा कर लो. Okay. सब life सुखी हो जाएगी, right? हाँ, और फिर बाद में लाइफ रियली इंजीनियरिंग में आने के बाद सुखी हो जाती है, करेक्ट? ओनली थिंग इज दे डोंट टेल यू कि सुखी में छोटी ऊ की मात्रा नहीं है, बड़ी ऊ की मात्रा है. सो यू रियलाइज दैट अरे बाबा अपना तो बॉस, ओके, एंड देन यू कम एंड मीट मेनी मोर पीपल एंड यू फिगर आउट कि अरे आई एम नॉट अलोन, देयर आर मेनी अदर्स हु आर इन द सेम प्रोसेशन. Now the problem that is there in engineering and what's there in Mumbai University specifically is long back about 20-25 years ago when I had the misfortune of doing the same, but it was Sardar Patel as a college. एंड उस कॉलेज की अलग तौर तरीके थे. आप लोग अब एक अलग जनरेशन में जी रहे हो. सो व्हेन वी गॉट इनटू इंजीनियरिंग दैट वाज एंड लाइफ वाज वेरी डिफरेंट. नया ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम आया था तो हम लोग फ्लॉपी डिस्क से ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इंसर्ट करते थे अपने सिस्टम्स में. नाउ थिंग्स हैव ऑब्वियसली चेंज्ड. You've come to a time in which you are going to be coming across certain challenges which are not going to be very simple, for the simple reason that the world is far more complex than it used to be before. And what I will try and do today is try and get you to understand why it is important to think around entrepreneurship. Now, entrepreneurship is not about just opening and starting your business or why you should do the same. It's about first finding out कि अपने में है भी कि नहीं. Okay, so let's start first with our lovely subject which is known as equations. मैंने आपको बताया गया था 2-3 अल्फाबेट के बीच में इक्वल टू लगा तो इक्वेशन हो जाती है, right? And what I want to understand from you is how many of you can tell me what does this equation represent? I don't expect everybody to know it, but you can look at this here. Okay, this is the equation of one number which gets really important in the year when we come into March and April. For simplification's sake, this is the equation of the GDP of a country. What is it? GDP सुना? Right? Gross domestic product, right? अब तुम सोच रहे हो कि यार इकोनॉमिक्स की क्लास कहाँ से चलोगे ये? तो ये ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट का हम इंजीनियर से क्या लेना देना है? वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, बहुत कुछ लेना देना है. So long back, when the world came into the picture, the global powers who were about 200 years back thinking about becoming global powers, India तो अब सोचना शुरू कर रहा है, but 200 years back when they started to set up things, they felt that physical aggression is one way of dominating the world. Okay, intellectual aggression is another way of dominating the world. And the third way which they brought in as a part of intellectual aggression was standards. Now let's come to what is the meaning and the impact of standards. Okay, let's say you all are going today, और मेरे प्रोफेसर साहब अब उस उम्र में आ चुके हैं, वो डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, बोलते हैं भाई जरा बताओ तो मेरा ब्लड प्रेशर कितना है. तो डॉक्टर वैसे सर आपका क्या बोलते हैं ब्लड प्रेशर जो है 80/120 है या 120/80 है एंड आपका 130/90 है, यानी कुछ तो गड़बड़. फिर बाद में वो बोलेंगे अच्छा ऐसा है क्या, ठीक है भाई और क्या करना है भाई, आप ऐसा करो अपना जरा ब्लड शुगर वगैरह ले लो कितना है, तो आपका फास्टिंग ब्लड शुगर 100 होना चाहिए और आपका शाम का 140 होना चाहिए. फिर उनका ब्लड शुगर निकाला जाएगा, पता जाएगा आपका 110 है 150 है, कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. थोड़ी देर के बाद सर बिकॉज दे आर इंजीनियर्स दे विल गो अहेड एंड आस्क ये नंबर आया कहां से. So they will tell you that this number has come as global standard of health from WHO. And when you go and look into WHO, you realize that WHO has given standards to simplify things. For example, what should be the average height of a normal human being, man? 5 feet 8 inches. ठीक है. अब 5 feet 8 inches अगर उसकी normal height होनी चाहिए, what should be that of a woman? 5 feet 2 inches. Correct? ठीक है. अब ये मत पूछो क्यों उल्टा है, ये तो कोई पूछता नहीं है. Anyways, ठीक है, सिंपल सा आंसर है. All those who are married, they will know कि women के साथ इज्जत से बात करनी चाहिए, right? So the men are being told to सर नीचे रखा करो. Okay. Now, if you start to look at this and you start to look at normalcy, you will realize that somebody will tell you by that standard, अमिताभ बच्चन को काट के नीचे से कम कर देना चाहिए और जया भादुरी के नीचे पैर लगा के उसको लंबा कर देना चाहिए, right? Because both of them by statistical reasons are abnormal, right? Now what you will realize is that globally what has happened is these firms, they have dominated these bodies called standards, and while they have dominated these bodies of standards, they have created standards which are largely based on surveys conducted in their countries. तो उनको ये पता ही नहीं चल रहा है कि that women in India for the last 10 years their height averages have started to reduce, and the height averages of males also globally have started to reduce, especially in the eastern part of the world. You will realize Indians and Afghanis and Pakistanis had a larger height. But the more you move towards Japan and China, the heights, right? Now that phenomenon is kind of catching up in India also. ये standards बना देते हैं और फिर बोलते हैं standards के साथ आप comply कीजिए, और हम लोग भाग दौड़ करके किसी तरह से standards को meet करना शुरू करते हैं, not realizing that these standards are actually slightly tilted towards an advantage for them. For example, let's look at GDP. Tell me, who should be the richest nation of the world? Correct, China, because the largest landmass is there. Russia actually, right? But in the time when the standard was created, who was at war? Russia and America, correct? जिसके पास ज्यादा land, they should be the one having the largest mineral resources, largest land resources. They are the ones who should be the richest. But how has America and England come out with standards? GDP. अब इंग्लैंड के पास तो जमीन थी नहीं, और जब ये स्टैंडर्ड बन रहे तो जमीन जा रही थी, correct? So standards kind of started getting tilted. What did they do? They said, look, let's do this. Whoever consumes most, whether you have a large landmass or you have a less landmass, is the one who is the richest. अब आप ये GDP की equation देखेंगे तो just go to the next slide. You will see that this equation comprises of one before. नहीं आप आगे चलो, एक पीछे. Correct. C stands for consumption. The more you consume, एक शर्ट लो फेंक दो, दूसरी शर्ट लो फेंक दो, एक डांडे का डब्बा आएगा. अपने घर में क्या होता है इंडिया में, डांडे का डब्बा घर में आता है, उसके बाद कहां तक जाता है, उसकी जर्नी टॉयलेट तक जाती है, राइट? हाँ, यूएस में ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. ओके, फॉर एग्जांपल जब हम लोग खेलते थे स्कूल में तो हमको एक स्पोर्ट्स शू हुआ करता था, करेक्ट, सफेद रंग का. आजकल रनिंग शूज अलग होते हैं, वॉकिंग शूज अलग होते हैं, स्किपिंग शूज अलग होते हैं, टेनिस शूज अलग होते हैं, करेक्ट? इज दैट एक्चुअली नीडेड? सो यू फाइंड दैट योर वार्डरोब ऑफ क्लोथ्स इज स्मॉलर देन योर शू का वार्डरोब. Now what you will notice is they say that growth is equal to consumption, it is equal to investment, it is directly proportional to government spending, directly proportional to exports, and reversely proportional to imports. Now let's think a little faster, what is therefore happening and how it impacts us. If there is something to be consumed, let me say अभी Amazon great sale चल रही है, Flipkart great sale चल रही है. आप क्यों खरीदते हो? क्योंकि ऑफर है, डिस्काउंट है, सस्ता है, करेक्ट? You will realize you will always consume something which is one of the three: faster, cheaper, better. थोड़ा सा जरा सोचते हैं. एक जमाने में टैक्सी सर्विस थी, बीच में ओला और उबर आ गए. ओला was faster, it was cheaper, you started taking it. Now Ola has become more expensive, it is faster, but it is also better. So because two factors are in your favor, you will end up taking it. Take about electronics. Electronics दूसरे कंट्री से आया करता था. Why were you taking it? It was cheaper, better, not necessarily faster. Look at cars, iPhones. कहाँ से आ रहे थे? Why? They were faster and they were better, not necessarily cheaper. Tesla. Why is it that people are so crazy about it? You will realize that all your consumption patterns are around discounting. All consumption patterns are around faster, cheaper, better. What will you export to another country? In which you are faster, cheaper, and better, because the buyer has to find you cheaper. What will you import? In which you are slower, in which you are not better, in which you are not cheaper. So you will notice that the entire premium, because the world is being measured in this manner, the entire premium is towards faster, better. Which means, long back, आज से 100 साल पहले, 150 साल पहले, when the Indian mill workers were creating cloth through handiwork, what did the British do to our cloth industry? They took it outside and they made it faster, cheaper. Got it? क्या हुआ? हमारी cloth industry बैठ गई पूरी तरह से. You remember this thing? Which means it's all today being driven by this equation around a single word which is known as productivity. If you are not going to be productive, please understand you will start to lose opportunities that are there. Which is the biggest challenger today to education system? बताओ. Who is the biggest challenger to the education system? आप आज lakhs में fees भरते हैं, certificate लेते हैं, उसका outcome क्या है? As sir was saying, it's not necessarily better. एक degree है, but the degree doesn't guarantee you what's going to happen next. So what is it that is happening? Who is countering this education problem? Correct. What did you say? Online? Exactly. Online teaching turns out to be cheaper. It also can be faster. But as far as better is concerned, because it's still not giving out a degree, these colleges are still safe. But the day they start to give out some authorized degrees, what happens? Everybody shifts there. Right? Now, what you need to understand is your profession in the next 4 years is going to encounter this problem really, really hard. आज से कुछ समय पहले ट्रांसलेशन करने की इंडस्ट्री हुआ करती थी. आज आप व्हाट्सएप पे बात करोगे ट्रांसलेट हो जाता है. करेक्ट? आज से कुछ दिन पहले ट्रांसक्रिप्शन और कॉल सेंटर की इंडस्ट्री होती थी. Today, do you think robots are there who can talk? Absolutely. The industry is getting wiped out in many places because there are machine alternatives which are faster, cheaper, and better. Therefore, the critical point you need to understand is that because this standard exists, the only way you can grow and have a safe future for yourself is if you are, for the industry, faster, cheaper, or better. 2 of the 3 have to be in you. If you aren't, you'll have to really think hard. Understood? Why do you have these layoffs which happen? You hear about layoffs, big companies having big layoffs? Simple. Why do teachers, you all have this problem of salaries? Why is it there? Because there are today alternatives available. The education system ही नहीं, बहुत सारे private sector, public sector, जहाँ पर they are becoming heavier and larger, things are going off. All the startups are on innovation, all the large companies only acquire them. You will never find any innovative thing happen from large companies. Why? Because they can't be faster and cheaper. They can be better. So get this thing right that you are in a generation where these 3 factors will always play. इसीलिए अगर आप ये तीनों पे काम नहीं करते अपने करियर में, you are not the best analyst, you are not the cheapest analyst, you are not the fastest analyst, you are going to have challenges. आगे बात समझो? Let's move to the next slide. So again, standards के चक्कर में, let's go ahead. In standards के चक्कर में, there was also a very interesting thing. आप सब लोगों ने हॉकी देखा? Correct? हॉकी आज से 20 साल पहले कहाँ खेली जाती थी? कौन से ग्राउंड पे खेलते थे? रेगुलर ग्राउंड्स पे खेला जाता था. ये 30 इयर्स पहले रेगुलर ग्राउंड से हटा के उन्होंने क्या किया? उसको बना दिया एस्ट्रोटर्फ. एस्ट्रोटर्फ शायद तुम लोग जब स्कूल में रहे होगे तब आया होगा स्कूल में. हमारी जनरेशन में तो एस्ट्रोटर्फ हमें देखने को नहीं मिलता था. पूरे सिटी में एक जगह हुआ करता था. रीजन? इट मेड द गेम फास्टर. Okay? For them it became better. For them it was cheap, but for us it was 30 years it has taken us to get back to a gold medal. You understand how standards play? They will make standards which are more favorable to them. Look at another case. एक ज़माने में 70s में जब AstroTurf को इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया, the reason being given is हम cold countries हैं, cold countries के अंदर जो है grass नहीं उगती है, तो हम कैसे खेलेंगे? ये अलग बात है, वो ice hockey खेलते थे, but फिर भी they wanted to go ahead and have regular hockey also happening. Wrestling को उन्होंने मैट पे कन्वर्ट कर दिया. Lots of things they've gone ahead and changed. अभी Asian Games हुआ, you would have known these things. That's why I'm giving the examples. They went ahead and introduced AstroTurf on cricket also. Have you all heard about this? So go and find out if you can. तो 78, 79 में AstroTurf को क्रिकेट में इंट्रोड्यूस किया. अब क्रिकेट में इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया तो एस्ट्रोटर्फ जो लोग खेले वो स्पोर्ट्स आपको ध्यान में आएगा कि वो आपको भगाता है, यू रन एंड इट इज वेरी हेवी ऑन द नीज, ओके, बिकॉज इट एक्चुअली पेसेस यू अप, द बॉल आल्सो रन्स मच फास्टर. अब से दिक्कत क्या हो गई कि वो टाइम पे वेस्ट इंडीज के बॉलर हुआ करते थे, तो जब ट्रायल के लिए इंग्लैंड उतरा तो बॉल तो दिखाई नहीं दी, बिकॉज एस्ट्रोटर्फ पे सीजन बॉल मूव इवन मोर फास्टर एज इट इज दोस गाइस वर लीथल, तो एस्ट्रोटर्फ को बांध दिया गया. नहीं क्रिकेट में कीप ऑन द रेगुलर ग्राउंड, सो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, एवरीथिंग इज ओके. सो क्रिकेट में एस्ट्रोटर्फ को हटा लिया गया. Basically, what you need to understand is every industry where you're going to have standards. Till India doesn't create its own standards which are relevant for India, we will not be able to stand up and compete in the world. And that's why people are talking about all this Atmanirbhar and all these things. Because it's time that we create things for ourselves. We don't need to go ahead and look at standards of the other countries. Okay, anyways, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's look at the next challenge we have here. No, the previous one. Okay. So in about 91-92, India का जो economic sector था उसको open किया गया to the world. And we said, foreign companies, you are invited to come to our country and invest in our country. There was a difference then. At that time, they could take all the profits back to the country. Today's time, what is happening? We have said no. In most of the industries, 51% ownership has to be by an Indian entity, so that the profits are in our country. However, what was realized is as follows. They did a survey 10 years later, and they realized that only 2 to 3 crore jobs got created by the large companies. And the smaller companies were the ones who created almost about 4 to 5 crore jobs. There were 10 crore companies in our country which actually created 4 to 5 jobs. What does this mean? That the largest contributor to the growth in our country was coming from the small companies, not from the large companies. And you will see this exceedingly, that only a small company can be faster, cheaper, and at times better. Which means the future of this country and the future of many other countries is going to be in smaller companies, not in larger companies. So when you go for campus, please think hard. एक बड़ी कंपनी में कहीं पर जाना भी अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस है. However, you should not lose heart if you're not going to the larger companies. That's the reason why startups are being pushed up. Because smaller companies will teach you everything. Larger companies, you will get lost in one department. Got it? Second thing that they noticed was, what is the retirement age today? 16 सरकार. Regularly आपको क्या दिखाई देता है? कब तक आपकी जॉब सैचुरेट होना शुरू होती है? By about 55 or 50, you will find that your job is kind of gone. Why? Because by then you have become very expensive and senior in your organization. But at the same time, you are not fast enough. There are challengers who are younger than you, of half the age, who will come in half the salary and can do twice the work that you can do. Why? Because today a person who's 55 doesn't know how to run ChatGPT or machine learning. But a person who's 25, he can learn both of them. And he comes cheap also. So by the same principle, you will find US में भी ये हुआ है और इंडिया में भी अब होना शुरू हो रहा है that people at the age of 50 and 55 are losing their jobs. You will see this in your families. आपके parents आपको बताएंगे नहीं, but they will suddenly start to find themselves challenged financially when they are 55, 60. Now what does that mean? Same time पे health अच्छी होती जा रही है. That's why people are going to live till when? At least 75 to 80. Now tell me, what is your expenditure of your family, typical family today? एक फैमिली का अगर हम लगा लें, एक्सपेंडिचर क्या होगा बताओ? अगर आपका घर है तो कितना होगा? 50 to 60,000 rupees a month. Let's say we are talking about multiply this by 12, कितना हो गया साल का? 6 to 7 lakh rupees per annum for an average middle class family here, provided घर at age of 50 और आपको 55 से 80 तक रहना है, 25 years. Where will the money come from? This is a question that your parents will not bring over to you. They will not be able to tell you. But this is something that you might have to think really hard, especially in your career times. 55 से 80 तक क्या करोगे? और आप में से कुछ होंगे जिनकी वाइफ भी होगी, जो हो सकता है वर्क नहीं कर रही होगी. So it is not about you, it is also about her. And thankfully, wives will live in this world 5 years more than you will. Okay? Because obviously आपने ऐसे कर्म किए हैं तो पहले ही मर जाना चाहिए. And the ladies are there, they do good things, so they will probably stay longer. But बेचारी, how are they going to take up? And then you will have kids and whatever. So if you have a family, or even if you are individual, let's understand that after 55, till the age of 80, you have a very strong financial question. Even now, from the age of 20 to 55, you have a 35-year career. From 55 to 80, you will have another 25-year career. And the important thing which Indians don't realize is that we have already, courtesy this GDP equation, entered into a generation where every one of us will have to have 2 careers in our lifetimes. We are no more going to have 1 career. आपने देखा होगा कि आप कभी कोई फिरंगी नेशन में जाते हैं, ट्रैवल करते हैं, वहां पे 75-80 की एज में भी these people are working. Why? Because there is no social security. कितनी भी social security और insurance आप ले लीजिए, you cannot fend for yourself. अपना joint family system हुआ करता था, अब वो है नहीं. So there is nobody who is basically earning for you. So understand one important thing. You guys, especially, because you're not connected to any relatives, you don't have large families, at the age of 55, will be jobless. And from 55 to 80, 25 more years, almost the same time post-college till 55, is what you have to spend on nobody knows what income. Now let's do a back of the envelope calculation. Let's say we need 7 lakh rupees or 6 lakh rupees. If you need 50,000 rupees coming to your bank every single month, and I'm not taking inflation right now, how much do you need in the bank? 5% का fixed deposit मिलेगा आपको. 5% fixed deposit पे आपको ध्यान में आएगा. You need at least about 7 to 10 crores in your bank to be able to get enough of money that next 25 years bank interest पे आप जी सकते. Here comes the second question. Therefore, you will have to have a career which saves almost about 7 to 10 crore rupees in the first 35 years. Is it possible? Chance nahi. What does that mean? That means that you all are going to be ones who are going to have to manage your lifespan with these two careers, and the second career will have to come from a startup of your own. It is a long introduction to the topic, but what I wanted you to understand is that if you don't have a startup of your own, you're financially going to be in reasonably high stress. Because वो उम्र पे कोई नया startup तो आपको लेगा नहीं. So the only option that you have got is to get your own startup. Okay? So let's try and understand these economic parameters are pointing to a very stark reality. If you are sure about it today, you will understand better. Now, a startup does not need to be, you have to create a Flipkart or a Myntra or a Oyo or something. No. A basic business is good enough. But how do you create a basic business? And how do you go about approaching it? That's what I'll tell you in the next slide. Let's go ahead. Next. Okay, chalo, time for some fun. Photo dekha upar? Can you recognize the man on the bike? अच्छा, who's on the left side? अरे बाइक के बाद सही तो भाई जो बैठे हुए वो कौन है? One is the wife. Second one is the mother-in-law, not two wives. Nobody does that. Then it will not balance. Okay. So the mother-in-law is looking the other side. The daughter is looking daughter-in-law is looking the other side. The husband is driving the bike. मजा आया देख के? Single seater को triple seater बनाया? Correct? चलो ठीक है. नीचे वाला देखा? Commode देखा? Okay, fine. So all of us have. How many of you have had the privilege of being on the Indian commode? Indian commode पे किसी ने? No, none of you. Indian commode किसी ने use नहीं किया. किसने किया? हाथ ऊपर करो. How does it matter? तो क्या है? हाँ. तो half the people have. But see how the world is changing. Half the people don't even know what an Indian commode is, right? Now this Indian commode के ऊपर there's an interesting story. So there is this program which comes. इसमें वो they give you this funding का nonsense. वो फिरंगी Shark Tank देखना था आप लोग. तो 7th या 8th edition में है. There is a Brit who comes with his grandmother. Okay, and we are all watching Shark Tank. अरे यार बड़ा अच्छा है types and all. So the Firangi guy comes and he's got his grandmother and he starts explaining that my grandmom used to have problems in passing her bowels, okay, because her, she had to sit down on the commode. Now, we tried to experiment with the new methodology. When she sat with her legs up, her alimentary canal became straight and her motion would pass in straight. और फिर उसने दिखाया एक गैजेट जिसमें ब्रिटिश कमोड पे उसने ये दो पैर लगाए. Okay, and that product is called a squatty potty. Okay, जब चेक कर लो नेट पे मिलेगा. Okay, now squatty potty, squatting position पता है सब लोगों को क्या रहती है? Now what that Firang is telling along with his grandmother is that when the grandmother sat on the British commode and they created a mechanism to do squatting, they ended up having a process where she could pass her motion properly. And he ended up getting $250,000 as investment. और इधर हम लोग टीवी देख के बोल रहे हैं, अबे ये तो मेरे घर में है यार पीछे. Now, what you realize is that Firangs are discovering lots of things. They are not apologetic about that. But we have things here which we don't realize. And we have all moved away to not so squatty potty. Right? Now, look at the third one. The ones who stayed in north of India or who have stayed in Nagpur and all that, they will understand this. Cooler mein? Correct? Ah, badhiya. Ekdam. Through the pants. Ekdam. Badhiya. Ventilated system. What is happening here? Basically, you've got two vents through which you are having an air condition. ये जुगाड़ कैसे लगी? देख के smile आता है mind में, right? This is stuff if you can identify and feel smart about and feel nice about, trust me, you can do innovation. You can do entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship and innovation are just back to back. If you can innovate anything, you can make it faster, cheaper, better, you can also be an entrepreneur. अगर ये आइडियाज जैसे आइडिया आप लगा सकते हो, जो आप लगाते हो, एवरीडे कहीं ना कहीं लगाते हो, then be sure that you can do this thing. Let me show you some examples of the past. Let's go ahead. This is a diagram of 64 different instruments used in surgery. Okay? They were done by a person whose name is father of surgery, Sushruth. Right? Sushruth was basically doing veterinary surgery. And when he did veterinary surgery, he created 64 instrument designs, many more, which were all designs based on animal shapes, if you look at them. Even today, all of these designs or its adaptations are used in instruments made for surgery. You know what's the funny part? None of these instruments are made in India. Interesting, right? Medical surgery devices are no more made in India. Even if they are made in India, they are under a patent process of abroad. Who do they belong to really? India. Let's look at another example. Okay. Sarah movie dekhi thi? You must be focused on the heroine, but basically she walked down the well. It was a step well, right? Now tell me one thing. It's a nice innovation to go inside the well and clean the well. नहीं तो we used to have in 80s, जहाँ पे पानी से खींच रहे हैं, पानी आ रहा है, बाल्टी गिर रही है, whatever is happening, right? Smart way. अच्छा ये कब बने? आज तो नहीं बनते ये सब, right? किसी के पास तो इंजीनियरिंग की डिग्री थी? नहीं, कहाँ? कौन सी इंस्टीट्यूशन थी? कोई इंस्टीट्यूशन नहीं थी. It was just somebody applying his basic common sense to get things done. Let's look at another example. If you go to Rajasthan, Mount Abu, you will see these Dilwara temples which are there. In these Rajasthani temples, they have got one pillar जिसके नीचे से कपड़ा जा सकता है. अभी आप सोच रहे हैं कपड़ा हैंग क्यों कर रहा है, पिलर हैंग क्यों कर रहा है? What is happening? What does it do? तो जब earthquake आता है, तो ये आके नीचे लैंड कर जाता है. As a result, it gives stability to the structure. Those places must have been earthquake prone. तो उन्होंने एक हैंगिंग पिलर बनाया हुआ है. तो जब earthquake आता है, तो this pillar focuses down. Understood? Simple. इसमें क्या कोई इंजीनियरिंग का बहुत ज्यादा दिमाग लगाना है? जब ये हो सकता है और ये हम ही सब लोगों ने किया है, तो why is it that we can't be innovative? Right? आप innovative होते हो? कहाँ होते हो? बताओ मुझे. Machine learning is not a new thing for engineering students. Do you know why? चलो बताओ. अभी फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर हो गया कि नहीं हुआ? हाँ. चलो आज मैं एक टेक्निक दे रहा हूँ. प्रोफेसर एक ही है, तो ज्यादा चिंता की बात नहीं है. Okay. How do you pass with more than 60% marks in 5 days? Catch your attention. बताओ क्या करना पड़ेगा? वो YouTube. कुछ YouTube करने की जरूरत नहीं है. कैसे कर सकते हैं बताओ? हाथ में लिख के हो सब. No person has been able to write and then copy properly in the class. Okay? ये सब बेकार की बात है. These are bad strategies. Prediction. Predictive analytics. Okay? How do you do predictive analytics? Something that most of you may have not realized. अच्छा अगर मार्क्स अच्छे आ गए इसकी वजह से ना, तो बाद में एक लाइक भेज देना, ठीक है? Now I'm telling you the technique. टेक्निक कैसे होती है? तो टेक्निक यूं है कि you must realize कि क्वेश्चन पेपर आता है, कौन बनाता है? कौन से सर बनाते हैं? इंजीनियरिंग ड्राइंग के सर इंजीनियरिंग ड्राइंग बनाते हैं, केमिस्ट्री के प्रोफेसर केमिस्ट्री के बनाते हैं. अब इसी कॉलेज के पेपर होता है कि पेपर बाहर से आता है? पहले ये बताओ. फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर कहाँ से आता है? कॉलेज का होता है, करेक्ट? मुंबई यूनिवर्सिटी से आता है. चलो दो टेक्निक्स बताओ, ठीक है? When you can't understand the subject, understand the teacher. Okay. Now, all the possible questions which come, हाँ, आला? हाँ, एक को तो क्लिक हो गया शायद, हाँ. All the questions which come from university, will they get the college, private college का professor to make it or government college का professor to make it? साफ है, क्लियर है? ध्यान में है? Unless private college का professor एकदम कोई धांसू टाइप से, बुक लिख दिया उसने, ठीक है? तो चलो अब लेते हैं engineering mechanics. पता लगाओ who are the top 3 people जो लोग गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज में हैं. कौन से गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज में हैं? सरदार पटेल, क्लियर है? और कोई एक दो धांसू लोग यहाँ वहाँ होंगे. ओके. नाउ व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज यू हैव टू डू मशीन लर्निंग. क्या? लास्ट 6 साल की न्यूज़ के पुराने क्वेश्चन पेपर निकालो. उनको जब तुम सामने रखोगे तो तुमको पता चल जाएगा कि ये वाले चैप्टर में यही दो क्वेश्चन बार-बार पूछते हैं. It actually happens that the professor who's writing the questionnaire, he also has 2 or 3 favorite questions only. उसको थोड़ी याद है कि नया क्वेश्चन आया कि नहीं आया. तो he will over a period of time have a repetitive pattern of giving question papers. ये recording हटा देना please, okay? And if you look at that, you will start to realize that he gives the same question all the time. Likewise, if it is an internal examination going on, अगली बार प्रमोद sir not calling me. Then the professor who is actually setting the paper, तो already जानते हो उसको. उसके 4 साल के पेपर निकाल लो पिछले वाले. अच्छा और ज्यादा मजा आ रहा है तो केटी का भी पेपर निकाल लो. 8 पेपर मिल जाएंगे 4 साल में. Trust me, you will get a pattern where you know exactly कौन सा sum boss sum नहीं, sum verbatim वैसा आता है और numerical में तो वही नंबर आता है. क्यों? क्योंकि कौन कैलकुलेशन करके नया निकालेगा? Right? Now this is basic common sense of how to make sure that you understand the pattern of the paper. अच्छा आपको लोग बताते हैं लेकिन आप लोग सुनते नहीं. Okay? Look at the question paper. आज Xerox copy machine एकदम यूज होने वाली है. लाइब्रेरी में पहली बार बहुत सारे लोग पहुंचेंगे. Okay? Go there and pick up the question papers of the past. Trust me, engineering or any big examination. सोचो थोड़ी देर के लिए. तुम्हारे जैसे बहुत सारे लंगूर हैं जिन्होंने engineering किया है, me included, right? What do you think? We were any better than you? No, we only knew the pattern. That's it. Okay, it is not so difficult if you understand. See, 12th में कितनी बड़ी बुक्स की थी, टोटल वॉल्यूम मास निकालेंगे इतनी बुक्स की होंगी आप लोगों ने. बराबर थोड़ा और ज्यादा होगा. इंजीनियरिंग में एक किताब इतने की है. 4 महीने के अंदर ऐसी 8 किताबें कैसे कर सकता है एक इंसान? नहीं कर सकता. प्रोफेसर भी नहीं कर सकता. He is also human. Correct? So you will end up getting the same set of questions only. Only thing is you have to apply your machine learning in your head and find out pattern क्या है. What is that called? Pattern recognition. Okay? So first algorithm of machine learning, it gets applied in engineering. कुछ लोग पिट के करोगे, चौथे सेमेस्टर तक समझ में आ जाएगा. कुछ लोग अभी निकाल लोगे और सारे लोग टॉप करोगे. Okay, it's not very difficult. So this is the way in which you will find patterns. So, innovation है. अच्छा एक और जगह innovation तुम लोग कहाँ करते हो? बताओ. और ये तो आप लोगों ने कम से कम 12 साल तक किया होगा आप लोगों ने. चलो let's give an example. Suppose I tell you, write an answer for 8 marks. अंग्रेजी. क्या करेंगे हम? पहले मार्जिन लेफ्ट वाला, फिर मार्जिन राइट वाला. उसके बाद वही आंसर एक अंग्रेजी में फिर काट देंगे बीच में, फिर एक और उसी तरह से सेम थिंग यू रिपीट अगेन. अंग्रेजी ऐसी पास करते हम लोग. करेक्ट? रेफरेंस टू कॉन्टेक्स्ट आता है तुम लोगों को. करेक्ट? यू आर प्रोफेशनल्स एट दैट. फास्टर, cheaper, really better. Okay? Nobody can. What is the प्रमाण of the same? इतने सारे इंजीनियरिंग में आ गए तुम लोग एक करके. अंग्रेजी देख लो एक एक की माशाल्लाह टेरिफिक है. Okay? कहाँ अ लगाना है, कहाँ द लगाना है, कुछ पता नहीं. एंड कहाँ लगाना है, ए कहाँ लगाना है. My God, God only knows. Okay, but you all have gone ahead and passed your English examination, correct? For one day you may give a run for the money to the English also. वो भी confused हो जाएंगे. But the point is, you know how to go about attending complex problems. It is there innate in human beings. The problem is we don't always accept it and we are not willing to take a risk on it. मैं कर सकता हूँ. Okay, look at these examples. These are all examples of things that have been done in India only by people like us. Let's move ahead. We have angles of measurement which go all the way to 10 raised to 18. Okay, 10 raised to minus 18. Sorry. Go ahead. Planetary motion. It was not given to us by any Firangi. Planetary motions have been known to us by Bhaskaracharya and Charak long back to very high level of accuracy. कैसे? यहाँ बैठकर हम लोगों ने आइडेंटिफाई किया. Why it's not so difficult? Because if you look at it, पंचांग निकालते हैं हम लोग. जन्मपत्री निकाली गई आप सब लोगों की. अच्छा चलो tell me one thing. राम जी की जन्मपत्री होगी? Obviously होगी. तो जन्मपत्री का मतलब क्या होता है? Have you ever thought about it? What does जन्मपत्री say? It talks about which planets? Sun. मंगल नहीं बच्चा. It talks about the sun. Okay. Let's say आपको मकर राशि में है. ज़ोडियाक देखते हो सब लोग? चलो बताओ मकर राशि का मतलब क्या होता है? मकर राशि means that there is the sun, Earth is moving around it. Outside of the sun and the Earth, there are constellation of the stars which are standard. When there's sun in the between and the earth moves in a way that Makar ka sign is there in front of the sun and the earth, that means Makar Rashi start over. It moves further, next Rashi start over. Moves further, next Rashi start over. Because the stars are all constant around. The sun is in the center. Now tell me, अगर राम जी का पंचांग पता है आप लोगों को, इसका क्या मतलब है? इंडियंस को क्या पता है? That the sun was in the center, the earth is moving around the sun and the stars are outside. Every person who has created an astrology chart should understand that science had evolved to a point where we knew who was at the center. Earth is flat तो हम सोच ही नहीं रहे थे भाई. We were thinking way ahead of the others. But we started to look at only the Panchang and stopped looking at various other things. अच्छा हम इधर ही रुके नहीं हैं. We've not only gone after sun signs, we've also gone after moon signs. उसको क्या बोलते हैं? नक्षत्र सुना है? Right. There are also nakshatras which are there. So basically, we've been able to understand the space pretty well. and therefore we are doing things, but are all done from here, not from anywhere else. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's look at this guy. ये engineer नहीं है, thankfully. इनका नाम है अब्दुल रज़ाक. Look at that कढ़ाई. What is that कढ़ाई got? Tell me. Half the कढ़ाई is frying mechanism, and half the कढ़ाई is pressure mechanism. एक ही अंगीठी पे he is able to cook both types of things. Innovative, right? हम लोग क्या करते हैं? एक ही पे केवल फ्राई करते हैं या एक ही पे प्रेशर प्रिंसिपल यूज करते हैं? यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हैं? Both in one. Why is it that he's doing this? एक ही बर्नर है उसके पास. Most of the houses in these areas have just got one burner. Not 4 burners are like ours, जिसमें चारों में कुछ नहीं करते. 4 बर्नर का बड़ा बड़ा स्टोव लेके आते हैं, उसके बाद आईने में मायना वो करके आज इसको जलाएंगे, आज इसको जलाएंगे. पता चलता है 2 तो खराब ही हो रहे हैं, उसको यूज ही नहीं किया कभी आज तक. Right? Nonsense. Again, classic example of consumption. जबरदस्ती 4 स्टोव, कोई सेंस ही नहीं है उसका. No lady in the house can bring the third hand out to use the third कढ़ाई. 2 ही हाथ पे काम हो सकता है. But फिर भी ठीक है. Okay. Anyways, चलो. Let's look at the second one. Arvind Bhai Patel. Yeah, look at this one. Mansukh Bhai Prajapati. What has he created? मिट्टी cooled refrigerator. 4,500 में refrigerator made out of earthen pots used in Rajasthan. Why? Because he observed that Indian people typically do not use food more than 1 day late. अभी आप लोग सोचोगे कि आपके घर में इतना बड़ा फ्रिज क्या कर रहा है? फ्रिज हमारे अलमारी की तरह यूज होता है, राइट? जो चीज अंदर चली गई है वो अंदर ही रहती है. वो 6 महीने के बाद निकल के आती है, वो स्ट्रेट जाती है डस्टबिन के अंदर, राइट? सो रेफ्रिजरेटर इज व्हाट? इट इज अ कूलिंग अलमारी, करेक्ट? उसमें कपड़े भी रख दोगे तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, सेफ रहने वाले हैं. बट एनीवेज, दैट इज हाउ वी आर. बट द पॉइंट इज वी ओनली यूज द फ्रंट पार्ट ऑफ द रेफ्रिजरेटर. And he realized that the amount of work we required is only so much of space. So he created a 4,500 rupee refrigerator. Sells like hotcakes. Whereas the refrigerator in the market sells at about 30,000 bucks. Look at the next example. There's a girl called Nisha. What did she create? कितनी बार रेलवे स्टेशन पे गए हो जहां पे बैठने की जगह नहीं मिल रही है? तो लगेज पे व्हील्स हैं, लेकिन पीछे अगर छोटा सा चेयर मैकेनिज्म लगा देंगे, यूजफुल. आप बैठोगे, आपका ही वेट जो है, लगेज का वेट आपको काउंटर बैलेंस करेगा, राइट? आर दीज things that you can't think of? You can think about it. Problem is we are not looking at our engineering course as an opportunity to think about things like this. Okay, let's move ahead. These are some diagrams drawn under innovation competition by children. Look at this garden wala seat. What happens in this seat? ऊपर से घास गिरती है, ऊपर से प्लांट्स गिरते हैं, अगले दिन रोटेट कर देते हैं. रोटेट करते हैं तो वो नीचे गिर जाती है. And now you have a fresh seat to sit down. Smart, simple. Many other examples which are here. आगे चलते हैं. छाते का अच्छा इस्तेमाल. Have you used this ever? घरों में यूज होता है, काफी जगहों पे यूज होता है, जब आपको फैन क्लियर करना होता है. Now, these are all those innovative things which allow you to make yourself productive and better. If you can think of all these things like these children can, there is an amazing level of startups waiting for you. Let's look ahead. If you notice, entrepreneurship, a lot of people ask, can I do entrepreneurship? मेरे में entrepreneurship का spirit है कि नहीं? Because entrepreneurship has been there in our DNA since ages. Let us understand one very simple thing. As a human being, you are entrepreneurial by nature. How? Simple सा है. देखो, एक छोटा सा embryo होता है, birth लेता है, right? कितने महीने में खड़े होकर बात करने लगता है? 9 में बाहर आता है, उसके बाद 18 महीने में 24 महीने में the child starts moving. Then the child starts looking at you, understands what you are talking, and probably tries to talk also, and can also walk. Get that? ये point पे, what is it that the parents are really doing? Only giving a congenial environment और खिला रहे हैं. That's it. वो parents को लगता है हम आवाज कर रहे हैं, बच्चे को समझ रहे हैं, कुछ समझ में नहीं आता बच्चे को. He is just staring at it. He is looking, ये लोग क्या हो गया ऐसा? And the kid lands up building himself up and starts to talk, starts to walk, all by himself or herself. हाँ, now it's a different story कि 24 महीने के बाद पेरेंट्स ऐसा क्या करते हैं कि तुम लोग गधे जैसे पैदा होते हो 18 साल की उम्र में. Okay, our entire education system and our parental system actually screws up our case. If you were left actually to nature, you would have grown up and become a far more resourceful, useful person. But we kind of condition ourselves. Because we condition ourselves, a lot of our inherent faculties don't develop. And that is the failure of education, even at home as well as outside. Now when Vasco da Gama landed up reaching South Africa, उनका ship खराब हो गया, so there he met one Gujarati boy. Our Gujarati boy had bigger ships than Vasco da Gama. These are all real facts. I'm फालतू नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. And this fellow lands up coming with 2 ships to Vasco da Gama, one on the left, one on the right. And Vasco da Gama in his memoirs writes that this guy seemed to have a shipping capability which is much larger than mine. When I asked him, why don't you come to Europe? He said, I am very happy with my धंधा in South Africa. उसके आगे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. So Vasco da Gama comes with the help of some Gujarati sailors. You know what is the biggest industry in Gujarat once upon a time? Shipbuilding and shipbreaking. Right? It's not that we've not had ships. Think about your forefathers. 4 generations before, कौन सी कंपनी थी? कौन सी कंपनी में काम करते थे तुम्हारे ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर? कोई काम नहीं. ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर कहाँ काम करते थे? चलो एक को मान लेते हैं, इनके केस में ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी होगा. But were there companies at that time? No. Everybody was either with the Sarkar, which is the Rajashahi, they were probably working with them, or they were entrepreneurs, they were farmers, they were shopkeepers. So if you feel that हम लोग entrepreneurship नहीं कर सकते हैं, then it is completely wrong, boss. The world over, everybody has been entrepreneur. It's just about being able to use innovatively the resources available to all. Okay, let's move to the next one. Now, half the world is naturally entrepreneurial. Let's think about them. Why? It's the women in this country. Let's look at the women. हमारे साथ क्या होता है as girls? हम लोग 18-20 साल के होते हैं, 21 साल के होते हैं, उसके बाद घर से प्रेशर आने लगता है, भाई शादी करो, शादी करो, शादी करो, right? Then basically कोई या तो आप कोई लंगूर पकड़ के लाते हैं या कोई आपको कोई लंगूर पकड़ा देता है. In about 2 to 3 years पता चल जाता है ये लंगूर कहाँ तक जाने वाला है, right? उसके बाद without working, see your mothers, okay, who are not working, without working, they land up raising a family, they land up making sure that they are getting what they want, and they land up making sure they are retiring in peace. इससे बड़ा स्टॉक ब्रोकर और एंटरप्रेन्योर और कौन हो सकता है? जीरो इन्वेस्टमेंट, फुल रिटर्न, जिंदगी के साथ भी, जिंदगी के बाद भी. Okay? Now, why? If you actually want to understand stock trading and how to believe in a stock long term, ask the Indian housewife. अभी nowadays times are changing, कभी-कभी स्टॉक चेंज करने का भी चांस मिल जाता है. बट जिनका स्टॉक चेंज होता है उनका भी कोई फ्यूचर बहुत ब्राइट नहीं होता है. स्टॉक के साथ वही मिलता है आउटकम जितना है. Short term investing never gives you long term returns. Keep this thing in mind. Okay. So all those who are married to one wife and happy, be happy. Acha, what do boys have to do? Catch the right investor, right? So if you catch the right investor, you will be with her and you will be sukhi all your life. Sir को अच्छा लग रहा है ये point में घर में जाके बताएंगे. The important thing is that the women folk are naturally entrepreneurial. They are able to go ahead and create a full lifetime of their own with zero resource. And what you have to do is catch the right entrepreneur. So point is, entrepreneurship is very much in us. Anybody who is thinking नहीं हो सकता है, boss, look at nature, you'll find it. Let's move on. How to make it happen? Yeah. Now the interesting part. I'll give you 4 sutras which you should keep in mind when you're doing your startup thing. How many of us want to really explore being in startups? हाथ ऊपर करो. ठीक है. Keep these points in mind. Okay. First, startups is never about ideation. It is always about execution. क्या मतलब है? It's not about मेरे को एक मस्त नोवेल आइडिया आया. No. It is about आइडिया अच्छा है, लेकिन ये आइडिया को मैंने execute कैसे किया? An idea has novelty only up to a point. Let's take this example. How many of you have heard about Sun Microsystems? नहीं सुना होगा. Sun Microsystems was the first person to introduce the browser of the internet. Browser is a mighty strong thing for the internet because it has all the data, user ka data. But who finally took over the battle in browsers? Google के पहले एक search engine था, which was much more better than Google. Yahoo. क्या हुआ? Failed. Facebook के पहले there used to be a very popular product known as Orkut. Okay. All of these people have had the idea before, but because they were not able to gather the right team, have the right processes, put the right systems in place, they failed. So always understand, having a similar idea to others is never a problem. Being able to create a great team which can make things happen is where your asset is. Let's go to the next one. This connects a little with all you second year organizers. When you are leading a team, when you are creating a business, the first thing you require is a dedicated and a good quality team. And your team of people will always come to you when you are able to emotionally connect with them. ये इमोशनल कनेक्शन की ट्रेनिंग कहाँ मिलती है? आपके घर के गणपति मंडल में, आपके कॉलेज के प्रोग्राम्स में, आपके स्कूल के इवेंट्स में. If you have been involved in organizing teams and events, you will understand how to deal with different types of people. You will learn to deal with different constraints. So it is a natural training which you'll end up getting only through these extracurricular activities. Therefore, while you are in your college, don't forget or miss a chance to be part of organizing teams of various extracurricular activities. The emotional intelligence you will gather through that is unparalleled. The only other people who are good at that are joint family people. How many here in a joint family? आपको naturally आएगा, because you will know not to react to stupid stuff. You will ignore lots of things. You know how to take your life ahead where lots of things are happening around you. This is a key skill that you need to have. Okay? Let's move next. Next. Okay. Now, when it comes to entrepreneurship, a lot of people ask, "अरे मैं pan India business बनाना चाहता हूँ, international business बनाना चाहता हूँ, or whatever." Let's understand, India is not a country which is just one single country. India is like 30 countries mixed into one. What will work in Sikkim will not work in Nagaland. What will work in Nagaland will not work in Arunachal. What will work in Sikkim won't work in Bengal. For that matter, what will work in Konkan will not work in Vidarbha. You know that, right? How many Maharashtrians in the crowd? Fantastic. My president. What will work in Pune will not work in Konkan. Okay? So basically, everybody has got their way. Okay? A region has a characteristic. And if you even take Thana, Navi Mumbai and Raigad, and you are one of the best businesses in your arena in Thana and Navi Mumbai only, you are bigger than national players in the same business for 55 countries. Once again, if you are a biggest player or second biggest player in Thana and Navi Mumbai only, you are bigger than the national player of 55 countries. You know why? 55 कंट्री की पॉपुलेशन थाना और मुंबई को मिला के कम है, ठीक है? तो if you are worried about मैं national player हूँ कि नहीं, there are countries which have only population of 4 people. Country बनाना बहुत easy है, anybody can make it. National player बनना तो और भी easy है. So don't try and look at being a national player, an international player, a big player. Try and look at being the best in a small locus. Take the example of one. पान बीड़ी की शॉप पे कौन कौन जाता है? अभी जाता है, हाथ पर करो पान। बराबर है? How many times you wondered, अरे पान वाला तो मेरे से ज्यादा बनाता है? The pan wala and the vada pav wala make much more money than you guys put together. Why? Because they just know that skill and they just keep doing it again and again and again and become better at it. Every gully has one nice vada pav wala who's unique and famous. International order ka vada pav wala, right? Every gully has it. His business is much bigger than all of you put together. Why? Because he's focused on doing what he's good at. So when you are building a business, never try to become a global player, a national player, a state player to start with. First try and become a regional player. अपनी region पकड़ो, अपने customer के type को समझो और उसके हिसाब से business करो. We often start getting confused when we start to look at big answers. Okay, let's look at the next point. Now, a lot of people think that startups is all about valuation. It is a lot about raising capital. It's a lot about funding. I have myself done this, more than $5 million raised, multiple rounds of funding, have been in this industry, done pretty cool on the whole thing. But the important thing you guys need to understand is that it's not really about valuation and it's not about funding. Funding is something जिसका business थोड़ा सा आपको समझना चाहिए. Okay? Shark Tank और ये सब आपने देखा? अच्छा. How many times you felt कि ये business अच्छा है यार, ये लोग invest क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं? Because let's understand, these investors have got lots of money. इसकी एक बात समझनी चाहिए आपने. Lot of the money which comes into India comes because India has a higher interest rate than these countries. What is the interest rate in Japan? 0%. There was a time in Japan where they used to go ahead and charge you for keeping money in the bank. भाई हम पैसा रख रहे हैं तुम्हारा संभाल के. We'll charge you. In the US, what's the interest rate? 3 or 4% now. UK 2%. What does that mean? That money over there will not grow. But India में क्या interest rate है? 7%, 8%, private में 13%. All the firang money which is lying wasted there, if it is brought into India, will give you 10% return. So it is not a reason that पैसा suddenly India में आ रहा है. India में इसलिए आ रहा है because India is kind of growing and we are able to offer a much better interest rate. Which means that any investor will come hunting for you if you are good. You don't need to go to the investor. A good business is that business जहाँ पे investor comes and asks you for investment, not that you go after them and pitch them. Because the moment you go there, you are showing I need you. When you go and show I need you, what demand करता है? Okay? Never ever look at getting funding as the way to find out मेरा business अच्छा है कि नहीं. Never. The best time to go to business and pick funds is when the funding guy wants to invest in you, not the other way around. Also, one interesting thing that you should keep in mind. Over the years, America and Western countries have got almost billions of dollars of reserves that they have got. Now, what do they do with this money? वो इंडिया में भेजते हैं. जब वो इंडिया में भेजते हैं, think about it in the following way. They'll bring $1 billion. अगर कोई $1 billion लाता है, तो अगले साल में उसको कितना रिटर्न चाहिए बताओ? At least 10%. So he wants $1 billion 10. Now, when he is looking at $1 billion, 100 million, what is the pressure that he puts on the startup? What happened to Byju's? The amount of pressure they put on Byju's to go and expand, go to other territories, other regions, today it's a bad case. You will be surprised. Most of the startups in India today are startups where the owner of the business has less than 10% equity. They are just there for the sake of it. Baki, all the money today is there with all the investors. And this is one of the biggest problems that the entrepreneurial community in India is having. These investors have just come in and taken away all the business equity. This is a bad way of doing business. You have to understand that money is something that you should divest very carefully. Try and make a business which is small, which is sustainable. Make sure that it gives you the employment you require from 55 to 75. And then when you've built a reasonable corpus is when you should try to look at the high scale businesses. It's not necessary that you should look at a high scale business all the time or in the beginning. Try to keep it basic. Don't go after the question part, is it scalable? Scalable doesn't necessarily mean great business. Look around you. The smarter Marwadi guys are the ones who have small shops and small businesses and they do pretty well. Okay, let's come to the conclusion now. Move ahead. Let's go ahead. Okay. A lot of people ask, should we work first or should we do entrepreneurship first? My answer to all of you is, get work experience for 4 to 5 years. But while you are in your work and while you are in college, start working on your startup idea and your startup team. Remember, your startup is only as good as the team you have. And your team is something that you will always find very, very well while you are in college. Most successful startups in the world are college mates who have worked together or friends who have worked together. Now, how do you make that happen? Here is the key. Go ahead. Next. When should I start? Next. The time to start is now. You have got one subject which will be there for the next 4 years in your curriculum, which is known as projects. Have you heard about this? Okay. You'll have mini projects and you'll have a major project. Make sure that you pick up a major and a minor project which is connected to the area of your choice. थोड़ी देर सोचो, मुझे किस एरिया में अपना एक स्टार्टअप बनाना है. And try and pick up a subject like that. Don't go after all these. अभी आज machine learning है, कल blockchain होगा, फिर AI होगा. ये सब में मत जाओ. Because those are phenomena of 3 months, they will go away. आज से 1 साल पहले सब blockchain कर रहे थे. आज कोई पूछता भी नहीं है उसको. Cryptocurrency is over, right? ये waves ऐसे आती रहती हैं, जाती रहती हैं. Never get tempted by these waves. Okay, these waves are very temporary. They are created strategically for pushing the agenda of certain startups. Always look at what is the actual trend over 10 years. Over the next 10 years, the trends are as follows. Most businesses will start to contract and will look at creating India-centric solutions. You will not have global companies. You will have more India-centric problems, India-centric solutions. Create a solution for India, for the problems of India. Why? Because those problems only you can understand. A Firangi will never understand. Okay? Now, when you are looking at your business, try and give it a start while you are in college. How do you do that? Pick up a project which is of your interest and make that your mini project till the end. It will also be your final year project. Start with research in year 1. Second year may make the prototype. Third year and fourth year try to build a product if you can. Trust me, it will help you with 2 things. 1, it will either give you a true shot at making your own industry, or second, when companies will come for interview, they only ask one question. And the question is, what is the project that you do? And what did you do in your project? No company goes and looks at your marks. Why? Okay, आप सबके मार्क्स सेम होंगे. एक के 50 होंगे, दूसरे के 55 होंगे. एक के 65 होंगे, दूसरे के 70 होंगे. And trust me, जिसके 70 है वो कोई खास नहीं है compared to 65. It's just that 65 वाला उस दिन राइटिंग गंदी लिख रहा होगा और टीचर को करेक्ट नहीं करना होगा. There is no big difference. Another thing keep in mind. आप लोग यहाँ पे 4 साल आए, आप में से कोई फेल नहीं होने वाला है. Have you realized this? आप यहाँ पे कितने साल के लिए आए? आपको कोई फेल नहीं करेगा unless आप बहुत प्रयत्न करें फेल होने का. Why is it so? क्योंकि आप जो बकवास करने वाले हैं वो टीचर को 4 साल से ज्यादा सहन नहीं होने वाला है. देर से पास करो, बाहर निकालो इसको. Okay? So let's get this thing right. Your chances of failing in engineering are very low unless you do a very special attempt to fail. Okay? Special attempt करने की भी कुछ जगह होती है, कभी बाद में बात करेंगे. ना वाइवा में, प्रैक्टिकल में ना जाना, टीचर के सामने शक्ल ठीक नहीं रखना, ओके, टर्म वर्क टाइम पे नहीं देना, ये सब करोगे तो डेफिनेट एक और साल मिलेगा. बट आफ्टर दैट आल्सो टीचर विल गेट वर्ड से भाई इसको पास करो, निकालो इसको. तो आप पास तो होने वाले हो. नाउ द पॉइंट इज हाउ डू यू यूज अप योर टाइम. Use up your time, work on your project. Let's move next. Sir was talking about there are many schemes by government which will actually give you funds for your startup. Now let me tell you one thing and end this entire session with that. You all have actually got in a hidden way more than 10 lakhs of funding available for each of you. And at times 40 lakhs of funding available to each of you, which gets wasted by the time you are in your fourth year. Now think about it hard. Okay? Chalo. What is the kharcha that your parents do on you in 1 year? कितना करते हैं? 2.5 lakhs. ठीक है? Right? आपके जैसे यहाँ पे कम से कम 4 लोग घूम रहे होंगे जिनको कुछ नहीं आता करना. एक वो बात करने में ग्रेट होगा, एक डिजाइन करने में ग्रेट होगा, हाँ, एक ड्रॉ करने में ग्रेट होगा, एक एक्चुअली इंजीनियरिंग करने में ग्रेट होगा. If you look at these 4 people and you put together, in 4 years, you actually have got 40 lakhs of funding, which nobody is questioning you. Funding से क्या करते हैं हम लोग? घर जाते हैं, आराम करते हैं, खाना खाते हैं. Is anybody asking you a question? बेटा घर नहीं है आज. Is anyone asking you a question? खाना नहीं है आज. Is anybody telling you आराम नहीं कर सकते इस घर के अंदर? Whatever a person does as an employee is what? You buy a house, you get food, you live a family. And at this point of time, each of you have that no questions asked. Why is it that Firangi countries do well in startups? Because they start their startup while they are in college. And this is something that we all miss out. इसीलिए अपने कॉलेज प्रोजेक्ट को सोचकर अपना इंस्ट्रूमेंट फॉर फ्यूचर बनाइए और उस पर काम करना स्टार्ट कीजिए. 40 lakhs of funding unsaid is available. No questions asked. कॉलेज का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, कंप्यूटर लैब्स हैं, इंटरनेट अवेलेबल है, प्रोफेसर के पास जाना है वो भी अवेलेबल है, बाहर भी मार्केट इज वेटिंग टू हेल्प यू. प्रॉब्लम है, you can even reach out to people like us in Green Labs. But there are several people available to coach you. Only thing is, you need to focus on knowing what is it you want to do. इसलिए अपने स्टार्टअप का सब्जेक्ट उठाओ या अपने स्टार्टअप के एरिया के 2-3 सब्जेक्ट्स उठाइए जिसमें आपको इंटरेस्ट है. 1-2 प्रोजेक्ट्स कीजिए और फाइंड आउट कीजिए व्हाट इज इट यू रियली इंटरेस्टेड इन. एक साल में पता भी लगा लिया व्हाट यू रियली इंटरेस्टेड इन, कन्वर्टिंग दैट इनटू सम बेसिक लेवल ऑफ एन आइडिया विल बी वेरी इजी. 2-3 साल काम करते करते उसको प्रोडक्टाइज करो एंड यू आर रेडी फॉर द मार्केट. अंडरस्टूड? दिस इज द वे इन व्हिच यू नीड टू टेक दिस थिंग फॉरवर्ड. लेट्स गो टू द लास्ट स्लाइड. As teachers, frankly, I think the teacher out over here, all that they can do is they can create some sort of a platform for you. Basically, encourage you with these competitions and various programs. So if you can go ahead and create some programs, competitions for children, which are already there. IIC is giving a lot of programs. You can actually do pretty good. So if you can make this happen as teachers and you can make it as students, it will be a great future for all of you. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, we can use the next 2 minutes for 1 or 2 questions. Thanks. स्टार्टअप रिलेटेड, फंडिंग रिलेटेड या कुछ ऐसे कोई क्वेश्चंस रहेंगे तो वी कैन पुट इट अप राइट नाउ, या प्रोजेक्ट आइडिया रिलेटेड अगर कुछ रहेंगे. Are mini projects there for them?
Yes, sir. From second year onwards.
From second year.
Mini projects are there. Third year mini project and final year major. What you are telling that is correct. I think for FE not mini.
You don't have.
For every semester there is a mini.
There's a mini project.
And nowadays what they have taken for single subject. So everything on project basis.
Fine. If you are looking for any ideas and all that, there are several lectures on the internet. Go and pick them up. Try and see what you can pick up. If you need to validate, there are various forums available. Reach out to incubators and all and take the help. Okay. All the best and have a great engineering. मजा करना. Question paper अगर ध्यान में आ गया तो फिर बाद में हेलो करना. ठीक है? चलो. All the best.
Thank you very much, sir. It was an amazing session. I would like to give students, please maintain silence. Please maintain silence. I would like to give vote of thanks on behalf of our IIC President, IIC Vice President, Convener, HODs, coordinators and the entire VPPCOE family. I extend a sincere gratitude to our esteemed speaker for sharing their invaluable insight and expertise during this enlightening seminar. Your knowledge has truly enriched your understanding, and we are thankful for your time and commitment for this event. We look forward to future opportunities for learning and growth together. Thank you, sir. I would like to request you all to kindly stand up for the national anthem.
भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you all for attending today's seminar. Have a nice day ahead.